Let's spend 5 minutes thinking about the Sabbath day. What was the Sabbath? The word itself means intermission. We might use the word rest in our language. The Sabbath day was a rest. It was a special day to remember what God had done. In the Mosaical law, or the old law, they were commanded to keep it holy. Exodus 20 verses 8 through 11, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter or your male servant or your female servant or your livestock or the sojourner who's within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Notice it's the seventh day as we circled there on the slide. In our calendar, that would be Saturday, the seventh day of the week. So often in the media, television, radio, even in religious material, sermons, you incorrectly hear the Lord's Day, the first day of the week referred to as the Sabbath day. It is not. It is Saturday, the seventh day of the week. The Sabbath was part of the old law. To fully understand the Sabbath day, you need to know or understand that the old law was removed. As we've talked about in other 5-minute sermons, Hebrews is a book among several others that Paul wrote. In particular, author of this one not quite known for sure to be Paul, but it shows that there's a new priesthood. Someone from the tribe of Judah is being called a priest and not someone from the tribe of Levi. And if this is true, Hebrews 7:12 says, for when there's a change in the priesthood, there's necessarily a change in the law. And in verse 22 going down there, this makes Jesus the guarantor of a better covenant. The old law was taken away, the Mosaical law. Christ established a new covenant, a new law. That old law and things in it were just a type, a figure of what was to come, such as this Sabbath day. Colossians 2, if you read the preceding verses, you'll see it's talking about new moons as Sabbaths. And it says these are a shadow of things to come. But the substance, the real thing, is Christ. Now, there does remain a Sabbath rest in the new law, but it's in a different sense, a figurative sense. Hebrews 4, verses 8 through 9 says, for if Joshua had given them rest, God would not have spoken of another day later on. So then there remains a Sabbath rest for the people of God. And I believe that that's referring to heaven, to the eternal home, the eternal rest that we will have in the end of time. Now, the Lord's Day is what is special under the new covenant. Very special day, Lord's Day. Christ raised on that day, and probably nearly every viewer of these slides is familiar with that. In Mark 16, verse 2 through 6, all the Gospels pretty much showing us that very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb, and they were saying to one another, who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance of the tomb? Looking up, they saw that the stone had been rolled back, for it was very large. And entering the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, dressed in a white robe. They were alarmed. And he said to them, don't be alarmed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He's risen. He's not here. See the place where they laid him. And I did not put all these verses on here, but the apostles get to see Jesus on that first day. A week later, Thomas sees Jesus that on the first day of the week. And it's the special scene where unless he puts his hand in his side, he won't believe. And he does so and says, my Lord and my God. They break bread on this day in a special sense, the communion, the Lord's Supper. And they give of their means on this day. 1 Corinthians 16. We know at least the churches of Corinth and Galatia commanded to do that, giving of their means on this day. So the first day of the week has a special, special, special meaning in the new covenant, whereas the Sabbath day had a special meaning in the old. Now, as a little bit of extra homework or something else to think about, there's a verse about letting no man judge you in these things. And I'm popping things on the slide there, but this is to help you if you want to study further. The same verse we were looking at, Colossians 2, 16 and 17, let no one judge you. Food, drink, festival, new moon, or Sabbath, they were shadow things to come. This is something you can look at to help reinforce and make sure we're preaching the truth here, that it was taken away. It was removed with the old law. And you do not have to keep the Sabbath under the new law. It's wrong to force others to keep the Sabbath in the new law. It's a misunderstanding. We cannot bind where we're not bound. I hope this helps you understand the Sabbath day, and what really matters is accepting Christ, the new law, and certainly keeping the Lord's Day special, worshiping, assembling, and also every day of the week being the Christian we should be.